I looked at the results of this election, and I knew that he was not going to be able to deliver on his bull honky promise. I'll censor myself. Bull honky promise that he was going to be able to freeze rent. If you don't know anything about municipal tax codes, if you don't know anything about the law, quite frankly, I'd understand if this sounds appealing to you. Then, obviously, reality hit. He got into office. He was inaugurated after that beautiful moment, where people were like, "We have defeated a generational institution of oppression." And then he promised institutional change instantaneously. And once they introduced him to the desk, once they showed him the papers, he immediately went, Allah, we are going to need a little bit more than, prayers every 5 hours, is it? I forget the amount of times. But it is 5 prayers a day, I think. Or I'm thinking of Judaism. Excuse me, folks. It's coffee. You know what I mean? I'm trying to balance a lot of stories on my head right now. All my facts are not going to be 100% straight. All right, let's review this footage.
There are 2 paths to bridge this gap. And if we do not go down the first path, the city will be forced down a second, more harmful path.
A second. This is Bane. Have you guys seen The Dark Knight Rises, where he says, like, "I am giving it back to you, the people. I am giving Gotham is yours." This is him. He's like, the second path will be absolute chaos.
Donnie says the more painful path would involve raising the city's property tax rate by 9.5%. That's the only tax the city has the power to raise without permission from Albany. That would generate $3.7 billion in revenue. But without reform, the increase would impact all homeowners at all income levels. Some say disproportionately hurting homeowners of color.
The foreclosure crisis always peaked in
Isn't that
Queens. So without it,
isn't that the goofiest part, is that it's affecting the group that ultimately voted for him the most? Is that, like, unfortunately, it's people that are marginalized. They are like, hey, I need to vote for somebody who's promising me. They're like, hey, we're going to tax the rich. We're going to fuck everybody up in a certain tax bracket. Ultimately, it's going to result in everybody getting hurt because you got to raise taxes on everybody.
you're pushing people out of their homes.
The mayor also plans to drain city reserve funds to close the budget deficit, which he estimates at $5.4 billion. And it's not even clear he would get the necessary approval from the city council. Speaker Julie Menon today saying dipping into rainy day reserves and proposing significant property tax increases should not be on the table whatsoever. Mamdani warning of his last resort plans just one day after Governor Kathy Hochul announced she would bail the city out to the tune of another $1.5 billion.
Oh my God. Folks, this is all money. This is money coming from somewhere. This is coming from you if you live in New York. If you live in New York, of course. New York State, by the way, because they're going to bail out New York City with New York State money. What does that mean?
I'm not supportive of property tax increase. I don't know that that's necessary.
But it's false to think they're the only two choices. Dig into the agencies. Identify spending that is helping New Yorkers and keep it.
Oh, he's sweating so bad.
Helping New Yorkers and
this man has a Giuliani, as we like to call it on the show here, where it is a stream of sweat that runs down your face. It runs it's from probably like your sideburn, and it runs all the way down your cheek line, wherever, down to your neck. He has a famous Rudy Giuliani moment, which we've coined after the iconic moment where his hair dye famously ran down his face in the 2020 election.
Mamdani has dispatched savings officers to each city agency to search for savings, and they're due back with answers next month. He seemed to imply that budget...
He sent out his goons. He sent out his goons to go shake down everybody. He said, shake down everybody you can find. I want you to go and find every single small businesses, children's hospitals, anything that we can get our hands on. Shake every person down.
Cuts and efficiencies alone could not close the gap. How can you say that raising property taxes is necessary if your savings officers have not yet completed the process of looking through these various agencies?
1.5% in this year, 2.5% in next year. And so these are the most aggressive savings that we can pursue without inhibiting the functioning of city government.
Wowie wow. Folks, I mean, totaling a record $127 billion, man. That's the budget. He's warning that he's warning about a nearly 10% increase, which 9.5%, that's nearly 10% increase of taxes could be on the table for property, specifically a 9.5% hike if the state doesn't step in with a new tax on its wealthiest residents and corporations. Mamdani described this property tax option as a last resort and a more harmful path, one he'd rather avoid, that he's going to ultimately have to take. He's going to take it. He's going to take it because Gotham is yours, ladies and gentlemen. We have to remember that he's doing this. He's doing this because a certain group of people wanted him to give the city back to him. Let's review footage of this speech. Actually, here we go.
Oppressors of generations who have kept you down with myths of opportunity, and we give it back to you.
To you,
The people.
the people.
Gotham is yours.
New York is
None
yours.
shall interfere. Do as you please.
Do as you please.
But start by storming Blackgate and freeing the oppressed.
Freeing the oppressed. This is when they're gonna storm ICE facilities. This is gonna be all the people that watched what's it called? One Battle After Another and got programmed. See, guys, this is what's going to happen. Oscar Sunday? Yes, Oscar Sunday. All the people that watched that one movie, One Battle After Another, they get that one movie about like radical people who are breaking people out of prisons and stuff. They are going to watch the Oscars and they are going to hear a phrase that activates them, and they are going to all suddenly it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be the start of the Civil War. This is a satirical show. We are joshing, obviously. Who was the director? Paul Thomas Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson. I do not think that he is a spy that is attempting to program every person that watched his movie to be sudden radicals, to break people out of ICE facilities. I don't think that that's the case. That is not absolutely, like, we're having fun here, folks. We're having fun. This is just I think I'm feeling the same way that every person in America is, honestly, a little bit, where it's just like we're having jokes because if we didn't joke, we would cry. You have to laugh, ultimately. We have to remember. You have to laugh, otherwise you will be upset. You will cry. If you cry and you never stop crying, and then because you will never stop crying. There's too much horrific shit in this world. You will never stop crying if you start. So you have to laugh. That's what we always say on this show. I want you all to remember this. No matter what happens to your major city, I know Minnesota, you're nervous. You're really nervous about Minneapolis. Quite frankly, there's a lot of other really nice cities. I'm not going to tell you my favorites. Well, actually, I'll give you a list of a couple to throw you off the scent. Grand Forks is not that bad, you know what I mean? If you like to live in those areas. St. Cloud, never mind. Someone's daughter just got murdered. He was running for governor and he had to drop out. Otherwise, it was a pretty decent city, without that situation. I will say, maybe, what is that one? Edina. That's the one that everybody mentions that no one has ever been to. Very, very fun. I don't know. If you're nervous about your major city, I know that, if you're in Omaha, if you're in Texas, no matter where you live in the country, your major cities, they're probably having a hissy fit. I know that I go down any main street of my major city, and there's people with signs, there's people making their opinion known, and that's chill, you know what I mean? It's the American spirit. I don't expect that I'll see them after a major snowstorm is hit, you know what I mean? That's not fun. That is on its way. I don't understand this weather that we're getting served, where it'll be kind of gloomy. There's puddles everywhere. It's rainy and shit, and then suddenly we get a blanket of snow again. I mean, global warming. Make up your mind, because I'd rather get London temperate. London temperate is the temperature that works for me, folks. Tell them to bring out the lobster. Tell them to bring out the lobster. Roses are red, violets are blue, folks. I think that we should move on to our next story because, as much as I love Mamdani Lani, I think that he will have success or he will fail. And whether or not he does, I think his reputation will be unscathed, because if he fails, he'll be able to go, I was never given an opportunity. People, they were always standing in my way because either they didn't like me or my policies, they didn't respect my background or something. He'll always have the ability to blame it on something else because he belongs to a majorly marginalized group. So that's that's his right. He can use that, but I don't know how long that'll work especially in an age that I feel is slowly moving away from identity politics as a whole. I don't know that it's going to die off. I just feel as though maybe we're coming back to an area where that's just a little less important to a lot of common sense thinking Americans. Maybe that's delusional thinking on my end.